Salut ceux qui sont sur YouTube.
C'est nous, toujours.
Ça fait peut-être quelques jours du coup, depuis la dernière vidéo, mais voilà.
Pour nous, ça fait genre 10 secondes. On recommence.
On recommence.
On recommence.
Let's go.
You know what, Stanley?
Ah.
I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Oh.
Une nouvelle direction.
Du coup là on est au 3e épisode.
Now,
Je dis ça pour nous, en fait.
this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
Une romance héroïque fantasy avec plein de magie et des gens pas gentils. Mais des gens gentils aussi.
Ouais. Ah bah c'est par là.
Et toi, tu voudrais quoi comme histoire?
Une histoire
no,
avec
not
un
you
avocat
again.
du diable.
Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any
Signe des
role in
contrats
our
avec
awesome
les
new
gens
story.
pour lutter
No lines
contre
or
Dieu.
monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it. We should be
Pour un truc
fine.
que vous ne pouvez pas trouver sur la chaîne Crazy Vengeance par exemple.
Je suis désolée d'avoir activé un dialogue pendant que tu racontais ça.
Ah c'est dommage mais bon. Essayez de trouver Crazy Vengeance, au moins sur Facebook.
Pitié.
Cherchez Ashen Corp.
Oh yeah.
C'est de l'autopromo donc je me permets.
T'es scandaleux, mec. Scandaleux.
Je suis l'avocat du diable.
Tin, tin. Et comme ça, vous pourriez voir son visage en avant-première. Il en a un très beau.
Merci.
Ah, a choice.
Ah.
We get to
Choice.
make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse
Makes
door's
sense,
origin.
right.
So starting from the right, let us ask,
Ooh.
will taking the right door lead us to where we're going?
J'appuie
And
là.
since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits. Oh,
La
hold
fin
up, what's this?
troublante. Ah, trop
The
bien, du coup,
confusion
c'est en
ending.
français.
You're telling
Ouais.
me
Faut lire les trucs.
that's what this is?
Mets la caméra.
It's all
Ah oui,
one
on
giant
voit.
ending?
On voit.
And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all
La fin troublante.
determined? So now, according to the schedule, I
Oui, oui, la
restart
fin
again.
troublante,
Then what?
on dit que la finale,
Am I just
c'est
supposed to
5
forget?
secondes, 6 secondes,
Well, what if I don't want to forget? My
Trouvez le
mind
programme
goes
de la fin
blank
troublante.
simply because it's
Ok, donc
written
faut
here
encore
on
faire
this
1,
this
2,
thing
3, 4 démarrages.
wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped?
Ah.
Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break
je
the
voulais la fin
cycle?
troublante.
The, whatever it is that made this
Attends, le
schedule?
jeu se relance tout seul.
How would we even know? Will someone
Juste
come
avant
for
le
us?
6ème démarrage.
Will
Ouais.
something happen?
Mais du coup, s'il peut se lancer tout seul,
So,
si se trouve.
Okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree?
Les deux
I'm not
portes
quite
menées
sure
là.
if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out,
Eh ben,
won't
dis
we?
donc.
Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you...
À l'aide. Je suis troublée. Tiens, prends la manette. Ouh, ouh, ouh. On fait des squats, défoncer la tête à cette fin troublante.
Ouais.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Je me demande ce que ça fait si t'essayes de relancer genre le début du truc avec la porte 430 mais que tu l'arrêtes. Genre que tu le fais pas jusqu'au bout.
Bonne question.
Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition.
Ouais bah tant pis. On fera pas d'effort pour toi. Qu'est-ce que tu dis?
Parce que t'en fais pas pour nous.
Ouais, voilà. Oh.
La ligne. Coucou la ligne.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Non.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Oui.
The lounge was sublime, a work of art. What was it about this room that called so deeply and so personally to Stanley? Its grace,
Ah bon?
its subtle charm. No. Stanley knew
Je vois.
it was something deeper,
J'ai plutôt
something
l'impression que c'est une pièce qu'on trouve
darker.
dans un bâtiment public des Sims.
Possible.
Avec le minimum de décoration qui
But
manque dans les
eager
bâtiments
to get
publics
back
des
to
Sims.
business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Donc on peut faire ça, ou alors on peut aller jusqu'au monte-charge et on peut sauter, se prendre une amende à 5000 $, mais sur la passerelle.
Ouais, on peut essayer, je sais pas.
Let's go.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you
$100,000.
all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you... Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
J'aime pas le bleu.
J'allais dire désolé Charles, mais...
J'aime pas le bleu.
Perhaps you misunderstood.
Tu vois?
Stanley
J'aime
walked
pas le bleu non
through
plus.
the red door. I still don't think
Hey.
we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
Red.
All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've
Ouais.
chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map, because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps
Hey.
ahead of where we were before. Go ahead,
go.
Stanley. Take it for a spin. Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would
Bah,
you
il y a de
say
l'orange
that the
partout,
game
donc moi, je reste.
benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. Aha! You see, I knew I was onto something. Where do these flashes of inspiration come from?
Feedback area.
How did I know the game needed a third door? Well, it's instinct mostly, a calling in your gut. I really couldn't say where the idea came from, except that I felt it in my soul. You can't teach that, Stanley. Don't even try. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Hey!
Ouais. Good old Neil.
Du coup, je me demande si c'est des vrais gens.
Ce serait marrant.
Le pire, c'est que je me demande si c'est pas le cas. Enfin, peut-être pas. Ouais,
A
non.
dead rat.
Ah, yes. Vous êtes objectivement classé. Ok.
C'est marrant. Des petits bouts d'orange un peu partout.
Ah ouais. Ah, j'avais pas vu. Qu'est-ce qu'on fait
Est-ce qu'on est gentil et qu'on resuit son chemin? Est-ce qu'on prend le chemin du milieu même si ça n'a aucun sens? Ou est-ce qu'on continue dans ce délire de nouveaux jeux?
Bah, je sais pas si ça va amener à un nouveau truc du coup. Enfin, ouais. Moi, je suis curieux.
Ouais, vas-y.
Let's go.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again,
Moyen.
honest answers, please.
Ouais, genre 4.
3.
3 carrés. Allez, hop.
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some
Ouais.
play testing. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect.
Si.
Let me boot it up. In this game,
Ouais.
the baby crawls left towards danger.
J'avais
You
oublié
click
ce
the
truc.
button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly
Au secours.
confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't
Okay,
you
c'est
give
parti.
it 4
Let's
hours
go.
of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
C'est horrible.
C'est marrant, ça ressemble effectivement à la parentalité.
Le pire, c'est qu'ils ont vraiment fait exprès de mettre les jeux les plus insupportables.
Arrête, je t'en supplie, laisse-le brûler. C'est vraiment ce bébé, faisons des brochettes, des kebabs.
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here? Yes,
autre jeu?
this seems like it'll work.
Je sais pas, The
Let's
Stanley
give it a
Parable
shot.
peut-être?
Oui, non, je sais.
On va jouer à...
Ah Ok, je savais pas.
Fascinating.
Ça
What do you
change.
think this game
Ils
is
ont
about,
changé.
Stanley?
C'est quoi,
What's
ce
our
jeu?
backstory? What is our
Je
motivation?
me demande si c'est pas un jeu où tu...
Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic purpose. Yes, that must be it.
pense
What a
que les
fascinating
cartes
venture into the
Microsoft
experience of
sont bien,
total
comme ça.
mental
Parce que,
depravity.
genre,
So
ça
far,
arrête
I love
pas, quoi.
everything
Dans
about
le
this
même
game,
style, fait par les
Stanley.
mêmes
And
gens.
it seems there's
Non,
even
je pense
more.
pas du tout.
Come,
Mais
let's
dans
venture
l'ancienne version,
outward
c'est
and see what else is
dans
out there.
Minecraft.
Oui, oui, ça je me souviens.
Mais justement, du coup, j'étais en mode, ah oui, on va avoir Minecraft, du coup, c'est marrant que j'ai fait le lien avec Minecraft. Et en fait, non, ils ont mis un autre jeu, du coup, c'est marrant aussi.
Je pense qu'il y avait aussi Portal ou un truc comme ça, genre on voyait plusieurs autres jeux dans l'ancienne version.
Ouais, peut-être.
Du coup là on voit ce jeu là, c'est marrant.
Bah, il va sans doute y avoir d'autres jeux. C'est cool, en vrai.
Ouais.
Le fait qu'ils aient changé et
Il
tout.
se passe quoi dans le jeu quand il y a
J'en sais rien, j'ai pas beaucoup regardé. Ouais. Mais c'est très beau.
Ouais, c'est vrai que c'est beau.
Peut-être qu'on va se faire le jeu d'origine, du coup.
Oh no.
Peut-être.
No, it can't be.
C'est marrant parce que le style se ressemble
It
tellement,
is.
j'ai l'impression que c'est
It's
fait
an
par les mêmes gens.
open world game. Good God, quickly block it off.
Quoi? Mais non!
Goodness, Stanley, what
C'est
a
un
close
jeu à monde
call.
ouvert, non!
I really wandered off into that thing, that big open, just wandering around, no right or wrong directions, no path to follow. You can just go in any. Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley.
C'est excellent.
Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game.
Allez,
Preferably
courez,
something with
courez.
walls. Something with nice,
Des murs.
big,
Avec de
insurmountable
bons grands murs
walls.
infranchissables.
Ouais.
Qu'est-ce qui va nous sortir?
Okay, I think this will be just the thing.
J'ai hâte.
Wonderful.
Rocket
See, this is
League.
exactly what I had in mind.
Trop bien.
Just a nice big
C'est
box for you
génial.
to run around in. There isn't
Belle
any
grosse
possibility that you
boîte.
could get lost here. Now
Mais
this
c'est
is
génial.
game
Ça
design.
c'est du game
Stanley,
design.
if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed.
C'est trop bien.
C'est trop bien qu'ils aient actualisé les jeux.
Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see.
On joue au foot.
There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that
Let's
there's a
go,
ball
voiture.
of some kind back here.
Voiture,
Is this game
voiture,
sports
voiture.
ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together. Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have
La
fun.
balle.
La balle.
La balle.
La
Oh, je vais
baballe.
plus vite.
La baballe.
Je vais vite.
Oui,
Bam.
la baballe. Oui.
D'ailleurs, on fera des lives sans doute
De baballe.
de Babal, exactement.
Oh, ça va exploser.
Bah,
C'est nul.
ah
What are you doing?
Je m'attendais pas à ça.
Moi non plus, je voulais juste que ça fasse boum.
Ah ouais, moi
Comme
aussi.
dans Rocket
Stanley,
League.
don't do that. I can't follow you there. I
Voilà, on
can't
fera des
help
lives de
you.
Rocket League.
How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back.
Mais j'ai pas fait exprès. Je pensais juste que la baballe elle allait exploser, j'avais pas compris pourquoi elle était tombée et je m'attendais pas à tomber aussi. À l'aide.
Tu penses que si tu tombes pas, il se passe juste
Ah.
qu'il te rend plus de balles?
Je pense que oui, je pense à mon avis de plus, juste une balle à chaque fois je suppose, mais je suis encore tombé. J'ai mal aux jambes. Oh, je préférais être sur le rétin, sur le terrain,
Sur le rétin. Oui, chaud.
sur le terrain de Rocket League.
Il y a une lampe qui marche.
Ça fait un peu film d'horreur.
Ça fait un peu vieil hôtel. Oh,
Vieil hôtel de
427,
film
on
d'horreur.
connaît ça.
Tiens, ça alors. Qu'est-ce que...
Ça ressemble à l'application que j'utilise pour faire du dessin sur tablette.
Ok.
Ou alors à du montage vidéo, des trucs comme ça.
Ouais, bah ton application elle est flippante, hein, laisse-moi te le dire. Bon bah d'accord.
Ça fait peur.
Bah un peu, ouais. Moi j'étais bien sur le terrain de Rocket League.
encore
j'ai
tombé
peur. Mais
I
non,
wonder
ça
what
s'est
he
coupé.
found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
C'est troublant.
Pourtant, c'est pas la fin troublante.
C'est troublant quand même.
Bah, c'était marrant.
C'était troublant.
C'était effrayant, mais c'était marrant quand on était dans Firewatch, je crois que ça s'appelle, et surtout dans Rocket League.
Ouais.
J'aurais dû rester, j'aurais pu faire plusieurs buts, mais bon, ça explosait pas, c'est dommage.
Ouais.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
J'ai eu peur qu'il y ait
Stanley decided to go to the meeting
Oh,
room.
t'inquiète.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Du coup, je sais pas trop quoi faire. Là.
Bon, je sais pas.
Je pense qu'on était assez loin, qu'on a un sacré hard reset.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Est-ce que je tenterais pas de faire la fin normale et de juste aller à escape à la fin?
Ouais, par exemple, ouais, vas-y. Et j'avoue, je pense qu'on va faire peut-être encore cette run-là, peut-être encore une autre après, si on a des idées, mais à mon avis, on
Yet
s'approche
there was not
lentement
a
de
single
la fin du
person
live.
here either.
Comment
Feeling
ne pas
a
être
wave
viré,
of disbelief,
moins parler,
Stanley
faire un
decided to
travail
go
absolument
up to his
incroyable tout le
boss's
temps,
office,
sans aucune
hoping he
attente
might
de
find an
promotion ou de
answer
respect.
there.
Ne pas être viré.
On dirait Mundo, quoi. Le meilleur moyen d'être riche, c'est de pas être
Coming to a
pauvre.
staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to
Ah
his
ouais.
boss's office.
Apparemment, Stanley ne connaissait pas le terme de monter un escalier. Ah, je crois que là, je me rappelle de la fin.
Moi, tout ce que je sais, c'est que je suis flippée.
Ah, je comprends.
But Stanley just couldn't do it.
Ouais,
He
c'est ça.
considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that.
Et oui,
And in such a
effectivement,
competitive economy,
abandon de poste,
why
c'est
had
une
he
faute
taken
grave.
that
Vous vous rendez
risk?
compte, être
All
viré
because
comme ça,
he
sur le moment,
believed
sans aucun préavis?
everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself? Believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal.
Wow, trop bien.
I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Allez, un petit coup de poing dans le ventre de notre société capitaliste.
En fait, j'avais souvenir de ce jeu de façon très drôle pour tout le fun chaotique que ça avait avec les lignes jaunes entre autres, mais je me rendais pas compte qu'il y avait tellement de moments à la fois un peu philosophiques, un peu profonds, et surtout flippants et déprimants.
Ouais.
Ce jeu reste génial, hein, clairement.
Ah, clairement, mais bon, qu'est-ce qu'on fait? Est-ce qu'on tente une dernière fin ou...
Bah finalement on n'a pas fait la fin de juste Escape, mais je sais pas si elle est accessible, enfin je suppose. Tu veux la faire?
Bah en soi, il suffit d'aller tout droit et à un moment de faire escape.
Oui c'est ça, donc je t'en prie. Fais-la et ce sera sûrement notre dernière run pour ce live-ci.
Already this was uncomfortable. And Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his life.
Ok.
Qu'est-ce que...
Non mais c'est ça le truc en fait, que tant que tu ne fais pas recommencer le jeu ici, bah... c'est toujours la même partie entre guillemets, tu vois.
Ah oui, d'accord. Donc là, il y a peut-être un nouveau truc encore.
Bah...
New content!
Oh!
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Oh! Le nouveau contenu!
Oh mon jeez!
Oh mon fromage?
Oui! Oh mon fromage!
Un parc d'attractions d'entreprise.
Oui.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Ouais.
As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers.
En 2013.
After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable
Ah oui, parce que
Ultra
10 ans
Deluxe,
plus tard,
a
quand même.
reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over.
Oui.
C'est trop bien.
Tu vois, on a bien
Please,
fait de vouloir...
step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Trop bien.
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure
right.
it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Ouais.
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... oh, here we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Un ascenseur.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content,
Il va y
Stanley.
avoir de l'attente et puis... Oh là là, finalement c'est pas... Ah, ça y est, ça commence. The Jump
Alright.
Circle.
All right, let's see it.
Oh,
The
on
jump
peut
circle.
sauter. Oh, on peut sauter.
Et le pire, c'est qu'on est super content de juste pouvoir sauter, quoi. Ça marche. On peut sauter.
Attends, est-ce que ça veut dire que je peux... Ah, je ne peux sauter que dans le cercle.
Avec une quantité limitée de sauts.
Ah, j'avais pas compris ça comme ça, mais c'est vrai, du coup, c'est sans doute ça.
C'est un trampoline qui rebondit
2,
pas.
1. Y'a plus de saut.
C'était trop bien par contre.
Oui, c'était génial.
Je suis extrêmement satisfaite de ce new content.
Vous ne pouvez pas sauter. Un petit succès, là, vous ne pouvez pas sauter.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be
Donc, on
something
est
else, right?
surexcité du simple fait de pouvoir sauter.
Oui, c'était trop bien. Un nouvel ascenseur.
Oh.
Goodness. Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of
What
this
is it
game
about?
are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes
quand
for
même, il y avait des
exciting new
sauts.
content?
C'est
quand même
If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh wait, there's more. Very good.
J'adore qu'ils mettent eux-mêmes des
I knew
critiques
there had to
sur
be
leur
something
nouveau
else.
contenu.
Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Ah, c'est spécial, mais c'est marrant.
C'est nouveau.
Ouais.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stan, this is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about.
Content.
No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Bon, est-ce qu'on s'arrête là ou est-ce qu'on fait cette run en plus?
Je sais pas si c'est vraiment une nouvelle run, mais... Ah, imagine si en relançant le jeu, on est plus là.
C'est pas vraiment possible.
J'en sais rien.
C'est une partie. C'est
J'en
pas
sais-
relancer une nouvelle partie, juste on rebranche le jeu au moment où on l'a laissé.
J'en sais rien.
Oh là 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 là! T'as envie de jouer, allez on joue!
Ouais,
On joue!
ouais. J'ai un tableau du couloir, quoi. Waouh.
Ça aussi c'est du new content, non?
Bah ouais. Ici, c'est tout nouveau.
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
C'est un peu suspicieux que tu puisses te déplacer dans le conduit, non?
Et comme par hasard, on a découvert comment s'accroupir.
Tin. Ils ont vraiment mis des tasses à café partout, quoi. Alors sûr et certain, il y a des gens qui ont été là pour faire leur pause café.
Probablement parce qu'ils peuvent pas en faire normalement.
Oui.
Et donc ils sont obligés de se mettre dans les conduits d'aération
Okay,
pour...
you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new ultra deluxe content turned
Non,
out to
moi,
be?
j'étais pas
Well, it got me
déçu.
thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Oh,
Oh!
waouh.
Ah ouais!
Oui, j'avais vu cette image.
Ah ouais! On est dans Elden Ring, c'est ça?
Oui, il est partout. Oh,
Là, ça ressemble à autre chose déjà.
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
Oh. C'est bon.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then,
Whoa.
video
Oh,
games
sorry.
had integrity.
Ah.
Il va
Back
code
then, it all
d'honneur.
meant something.
les choses avaient un sens. Oh, c'est génial.
C'est trop mignon, c'est pas la bonne heure.
Dommage. D'ailleurs, du coup, je sais pas pourquoi ils ont demandé l'heure. Tout
Ouais.
simplement. Puis ouais, ça a bien changé Steam. Hein.
Mhm.
En 2013. Waouh. Qu'est-ce que c'est? Ok.
Oh.
Waouh. Purée, mais c'est trop bien.
Grave. En vrai, c'est vraiment sympa. Un bel
Ouais,
hommage
mais-
à leur jeu.
Clairement. Mais par contre, est-ce que c'est une boîte de jeu mais style à l'ancienne?
Bah ouais, on dirait.
Wow. Ah, les bons moments. Let's begin again. Oh, c'est trop bien.
Oh, il est cool ce tapis.
J'avoue. Souriez parce que c'est arrivé. D'accord. Demonstration. Wow. Oui. Purée.
C'est quoi ça?
Bah, c'est vraiment, en fait, tu dois plus toucher au jeu pendant 5 ans. Et j'espère que avoir lancé ce jeu n'a pas remis à zéro mon succès parce que j'ai fait exprès de plus y toucher et j'espérais.
Bah on y avait... Tu l'avais relancé pour me le faire découvrir il y a 2 ans, je pense. Déjà 2 ans.
Ouais, possible, mais du coup, voilà, j'espère que. Enfin, voilà. Un jour, je l'aurai, ce succès. Alors celui-là par contre, bah...
Trop marrant.
Je sais pas quand il faut l'avoir. Nominé... Game Innovation... Debut Game... Story...
Non, en vrai, c'est cool.
Ouais, clairement. Et quand je pense que ici, là où j'habite à Mons, il va y avoir un spectacle basé sur The Stanley Parable, genre une pièce de théâtre.
Mais c'est vrai ça en plus.
Bah oui, c'est vrai.
On en avait parlé, j'avais complètement oublié. C'est beau.
C'est magnifique. Oh, waouh.
Ok.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them. And now, it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator
de contenu
content.
d'ascenseur en plus. Ah. Non. Oh, on aurait dit.
Ça aurait été beau.
Ah là là. Ah là là.
Tant de souvenirs.
Ouais, j'ai quand même j'ai quand même ce petit effet de nostalgie alors que je connais pas le jeu depuis... Enfin, je le connais quand même depuis plusieurs années, mais...
Pas depuis 2013 quoi.
Non.
2013 j'avais 12 ans.
Non, 11. Non.
Fin 2013 j'avais 12 ans. La majorité de l'année 2013 j'avais 11 ans. Eh, il y a le porte laissé fermé.
Ouais.
C'est pas bien, j'aime
Non.
pas. Ouvre-toi.
C'est vrai que moi, du coup, j'avais 13 ans et un mois après la sortie de Stanley Parable, j'avais 14.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone. To spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
Ok.
C'est marrant.
Puis ouais, j'ai vraiment cru qu'il y avait... Oh. Ah, ils sont forts.
Quoi?
Bah, j'ai vraiment cru qu'il y avait un escalier, en fait.
Pourquoi?
Bah, là, et... Tu vois pas les marches?
Bah
Allez.
c'est pas des escaliers ça.
Bah, justement, mais j'ai vraiment cru.
Ah, toi t'y pensais. Bon, j'étais en mode, oh, jolie déco, intéressante.
Ok.
Ah, c'est ouvert là.
Ah,
C'est que t'avais commencé, j'imagine.
these were simpler times, Stanley.
Hey.
But I wouldn't give to go back,
Hey.
to have it all over again.
La pièce sérieuse, 2013. Ah bah voilà.
Ah, c'est de là d'où on vient, non? Ah non.
Wait,
Ouais.
hang on.
Et du coup, là,
I
c'est la
don't
pièce
recall
qui
this
s'est
part
fermée.
of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
Oh!
Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Ouf.
Pas sûr.
Ouais, vu le décor, je sens que... Oh!
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! funny. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
C'est trop bien.
Oui.
Je pense qu'on est parti pour un moment.
Oh, je suis pas sûr, mais clairement après ça, on s'arrêtera. Mais c'est trop bien.
Comment on est à la pile?
Bah, pas tellement.
Maintenant.
Voilà, ici, oui. Là, on est à la pile.
J'ai peur.
Oh non!
J'ai peur.
Non, t'inquiète pas, tout va bien. Ah,
Okay, let's see what this one says.
ah, celui-là.
While
Oh
the
non,
idea
du
for the
coup,
game is
celui-là,
good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I?
Oh,
You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it
Oh,
wasn't.
les bonnes raisons, on peut pas les
Yeah.
voir.
What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks are my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel
Ouais.
like a failure.
Oh.
Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Oh.
Oh. Ah, c'était un très bon jeu, mais voilà, tous les jeux ne peuvent pas plaire aux gens.
Enfin, chacun a des goûts différents en matière de
Mais
jeux
oui,
vidéo.
ne t'en fais pas. Oh non, encore une autre.
What's this one got to say?
Après 10 heures.
You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button.
Oh purée.
A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
C'est génial.
C'est en effet génial.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No, 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 no. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore... Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly, and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that any choice you've ever... Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated on exactly how Steam works. Perhaps that would have been the smart thing to check on before I went about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45
Oui,
minutes?
d'accord.
It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it and just... Wait, how do we get out of here? Where did the door go?
Ouais, pourquoi y a plus de
Wasn't there a
porte?
door that led into this room? I do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the
oui,
first
y avait
place?
une porte.
I don't think
Oh là
one
là.
can enter a room without a door of some sort, or a window or something like that. Do you see a window
y a
anywhere?
pas d'ouverture.
A porthole? A sufficiently large
Door.
crack in the wall? I'll take any of these. All I want is for us to move on and to please step away from the skip button, to go anywhere other than the skip button. There was a door here before, wasn't there? I swear there was. Where did it go?
Bon, bon.
Can you
Ils ont
maybe
passé le temps.
just ram your way through a wall?
Oh,
Is there
je
any
pense que ça va
possibility
nous faire
that you
genre-
could, say, slam your body into the wall
Je
until
pense que ça
enough
peut nous faire
damage is
passer
done
le
for
temps
you to be
jusqu'à
able to
notre
leave?
propre
Please,
mort et
I'll
qu'on
take
meurt dans
any
la
option at
pièce.
all.
Oh non.
I'm asking you to work with me
Si j'ai
here.
deviné, je suis fière de
we
moi.
need a door. We need a door of some kind. I can work with any kind of door as long as it can open and lead from one room to another. I'm going to step away for just a moment, and I'm going... Stanley, please don't push the button
On
again.
est
It's been
12 heures.
12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the
Bon
room.
sang de bois.
Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone.
C'est assez
I've looked at
oppressant.
it from every angle.
Je-
I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times.
suis assez
and there's no
claustrophobe.
door, Stan.
Je skip.
Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk
Oh,
to
la plante
again.
est
Oh non.
morte dans le
Stanley,
Oh non.
I think it's been a week.
Une
or 2
semaine,
weeks.
peut-être 2.
I've been sitting here all that time,
Ah, si,
just
mais
sitting
il y avait
here,
pas de
not
corps.
a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing.
Est-ce que je skip
Would you
encore?
think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've
Ça.
always been doing? Me
Mais
just
je
talking.
suppose que la fin,
But it
c'est de
isn't,
continuer à
Stanley.
skipper.
It isn't the same at all. It isn't even close. Because
C'est vrai que c'est
I know you
exponentiel,
can't
le temps
hear me
passe.
once you push
Ouais.
that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening. I needed there to be a vessel through which my words
Par contre,
were moving.
j'adorerais savoir
It was the
tout ce qui dit,
vessel
genre
I
voir dans les
needed,
fichiers
Stanley.
du
Not
jeu,
the
tous les
outcomes, not
dialogues.
the story.
Oh.
None
C'est
of that
patient,
matters
ce genre de
anymore.
truc.
I'll give it all up. I'll give up every branching path. I'll burn my story to the ground.
qu'il va falloir
One
qu'on
single thing I need, and God, I can... Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time.
Oui,
I stopped
combien?
keeping track after a year.
Ah!
Have you ever sat
Whoa.
down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there
Oh,
is
no.
only regret.
Encore que
There
je
is only the
skip.
turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all.
Il n'y a plus de feuilles. Il n'y a plus rien. Il n'y a plus la voix. Narrateur.
Il y avait un truc au plafond, non?
Des lumières.
Bah juste le truc rouge là. La caméra, je crois. Elle était là avant?
Je ne sais pas. À mon avis, oui, c'est peut-être qu'avec les lumières, on les voyait pas. Oh non,
C'est assez horrible.
il est plus là.
J'aime pas ce genre de bruit.
Moi non plus. L'horloge est tombée.
J'aime pas le bruit.
Attends. Bah, du coup, je me demande si c'est pas l'alarme là ou.
Ouais.
Bon, on va skipper.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said,
merci qu'ils soient là, parce que
entertain
je
us.
commence à me sentir
It wasn't
vraiment mal.
enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability, it's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world, as though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can...
Au secours.
Truc au plafond, toujours là. Ouais,
Il brille plus.
mais il brille plus.
The end is never the end, 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 is never the end.
J'en peux plus, s'il vous plaît.
J'en peux plus non plus. Il faut arrêter ça, je préférais ma fin.
Ah. D'accord.
Mais forcément, tout se délabre au bout de plusieurs années. Et là, ça doit faire plus de 50 ans en fait.
Ah. Tu disais que tu préférais ta fin? Quelle fin?
Ma fin où juste on mourrait avec le temps qui passe. Mais là, c'est juste, j'ai l'impression qu'on est immortel et que le monde va mourir autour de nous.
Oh, du soleil.
On n'a plus vu ça depuis longtemps.
Ouais, ça fait du bien. Ah, des plantes.
La vie.
Wow, ça me fait penser à un prochain jeu qu'on fera bientôt.
Ah oui.
Je te dirai lequel après le live.
D'accord. Oui.
Et du coup, n'hésitez pas à vous abonner, à follow la chaîne, pour savoir de quel jeu je parle. Oh, bah, les plantes.
C'est remords.
Non, les plantes.
Bon. C'est dingue que le bouton marche encore.
Ouais. Par contre, à chaque fois, il y a un petit timing à attendre.
Ah bon, je savais pas.
Ouais, parce que tu vois, là par exemple, je peux pas l'utiliser.
Ah.
Et à chaque fois, il. Voilà, tu vois.
Ah oui, d'accord.
Il se désenfonce. Ah bon, bah.
Ah,
Enfin. Là, j'ai un peu l'impression d'être trop sur le jeu.
Oh mon dieu. Quelle horreur. Un monde ouvert.
Un monde ouvert. Mais waouh, en fait. Mais oui, c'est vrai qu'on était dans l'eau là-bas. Enfin, on était sur. Et du coup, ça a séché. Ah, la musique est jolie.
Le nord.
C'est ça le principe d'un monde ouvert, c'est qu'il n'y a pas de direction, il n'y a pas de bonne ou de mauvaise direction. Je crois pas qu'il y ait de bonne ou de mauvaise direction.
Il est plus là pour parler, du coup faut qu'on comble à sa place.
Ouais, c'est ça.
The end is never the end is never the end.
Waouh. Ok, c'était très perturbant. C'était drôle à un moment, c'était plus effrayant à un autre.
Oui.
Mais je trouve que c'est une bonne fin de live, une bonne fin de vidéo.
Oui, mais clairement j'ai hâte de recommencer.
Clairement, c'était trop bien. Du coup, la prochaine fois, il faudra tenter d'atteindre le nouveau contenu, mais de pas passer par le conduit. Il faut suivre le conduit. Wow, c'était trop bien.
Oui.
En vrai, c'était trop bien.
Et à la prochaine.
Oui, merci à tous d'avoir suivi le live ou d'avoir suivi les différentes vidéos. Et dans la description, il y a les liens vers le serveur Discord, vers la chaîne YouTube ou la chaîne Twitch selon le site sur lequel vous regardez ceci. Et nous vous souhaitons une belle vie et à la prochaine sur un autre jeu.
Et bon appétit.
Et bon appétit.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.